harsh discipline. All right, but I will get started here. So welcome everybody. Let me stop sharing my screen here and just look at me. Welcome everybody to Productive Learning. This is a place that believes that every human has exceptional potential, and within each of us, the keys to unlock that potential. And many of us, unfortunately, find ourselves in a job or in a relationship or just in their life in general, not feeling like we're getting everything that there is to offer. I thought of this last night. It feels like having a shampoo bottle with a nozzle and a hose inside of it, but the hose only goes down a few inches and it leaves a gap at the bottom. And so you're unable to suck it up even if you're pushing, the plunger thing. And a lot of people, I think, just say, oh, well, I must have gone through the shampoo faster than I thought. But not you people. Not you folks. You folks are here because you think that there's more shampoo to your life. And there's more at the bottom. And you want to get it. You want better. And you've worked damn hard for this shampoo. So you're going to figure out how. So you come to these free masterclasses, you read your self-help books, you do your journaling or your meditation. And that is like unscrewing the cap and banging the bottle on your hand so you feel like you're getting more of the shampoo of life to lather your head with. And you're doing a lot more work out there than a lot of people, and you're getting a lot more bang for your buck. So yay you, yay us, right? Am I right? You get me? Follow me on my metaphor here? Then it's funny. You get to the point where you start putting your finger into the top and you try to grab the stuff off the top of the shampoo bottle, right on the inside. But then you realize your finger goes even less far than the hose, right? I mean, I'm not the only one that does this. Yes, you guys do this? Nods of heads? Yes, great. Okay, don't make me feel so crazy here. Now, this was the amazing part. A few years back, I had this simple and profound insight. Why don't I just cut the bottle in half so I can scoop out the shampoo? Now I can get every ounce of shampoo or lotion out of every bottle. It was right in front of me, but I had never even seen the option, never even made a choice to do something different because the choice wasn't available. And that feels like when I take workshops with productive learning, it's like I have blinders on that I didn't realize that I had on, and then I take them off. And my whole perspective of life opens up. There's more to see. There's more to have. There's more ways to win. There's more to feel than I have or we have habitually found ourselves in. I think that the marvel of life is truly amazing, and it's available to every one of us. We just need some help to see how it's possible. And that's what productive learning is here for, to help companies and people see what's possible and then take action to achieve it. And I find that exhilarating, just like getting every ounce of shampoo out of the shampoo bottle. Who am I? I'm Lindon Crow. I'm the president of Productive Learning. I coach executives, entrepreneurs, and individuals on how to achieve more of their personal potential. And I support my organization in doing that with hundreds of people and companies. Now, that's what we're going to talk about today. But what makes it more valuable to you is the nuances of your life. So let's get to something very tangible here. In order for us to see, to understand what's available, we need to take it out of this theory talk about shampoo and talk about what's on your mind. So the prompt that I had at the beginning, I want you to write out, if you're comfortable writing out in the chat, write it out in the chat, write it on a piece of paper if you'd like to. Write out 2 things that are taking up your mind space these days. What top 2 areas of your life are you either struggling with or working on or trying to improve? Write it out. Send it in the, right, Marie? You can cut the bottle in half. It's amazing. I mean, if we're going to save $2 on every shampoo, imagine the amount we're saving over a lifetime.
I just never even thought of that.
That's what I'm talking about, guys. That's what I'm talking about. So now We're going to do that. We're going to figure out how to cut the shampoo bottle of our life in regards to those two areas. These could be things that are not just today. They should not be just today things. These are things that you probably been working on for some time, maybe months, maybe even years. Yes, Susan, of course, recruiting and management of new agents. Totally. One, getting started with anything. Julie, nice. Julie, this is going to be so fun to hear how you think about life and then how Jamie thinks about life. Because for those that didn't hear, Julie is mom to Jamie, which is very fun. Jamie's one that starts everything, but then we have to see if she can finish something. With all the love in my heart, Jamie, with all the love in my heart. Okay, so two things. Are you writing stuff up? Pete, managing employees and committing to healthier, beautiful, love it, great. Okay, everybody got something? I, for one, am always working on my relationship with my wife, Cassie. In our commitment to one another, we are always seeking to improve our relationship, which means if we are not working on it, then we are not holding our commitment to one another and the relationship. That's us. This means that whether things are good or bad, we have to be working on it. So write it in the chat, the topics or areas you're choosing. Does everybody got one? Can I get nods of heads? Yep, good, cool. Let's move on. Let's get to the winning mindset part of this masterclass, okay? So a winning mindset, I'm going to say, is best defined by what my grandpa, Lindon Crow Sr., said about his football coach, Vince Lombardi, when he played for the New York Giants in 1958 to 1960. Some argue that Lombardi was one of the greatest coaches of all time. And one of the reasons why he was the best was because he knew how to get the most out of every situation, especially out of every player. The funny thing is, my grandma, his wife at the time, would say that Lombardi could read every person and give them what they needed. So with one player, he'd walk up, he'd smack him in the helmet and say, if you ever fumble that football again on my field, I will kick you off this team so fast you won't know what hit you. And then he'd turn the next minute and put his arm around the shoulder of a player and say, what do you see out there? I trust your eyes. Tell me what's happening. And then Lombardi would walk over to my grandpa. He'd say, come on, Lyndon, you're better than that. And then he'd walk away. And he'd just leave my grandpa spinning and aching in this silence with that short statement. So what was Lombardi doing? I think that Lombardi was adapting his mental and emotional state to read the player and be the role that they needed to get the most out of that player. For some, it was a swift kick. Others, they needed their belief in their abilities from somebody from the outside. But like my grandpa, they needed a little bit of disappointment and shame. Whatever fueled that person. But what Lombardi was good at was to get into the mindset where he could adapt to the individual and the environment constantly change, which is constantly changing, and show up genuinely for it without reservation and take in the information without limitation to be able to have the most options available to him to succeed. Does that make sense? You follow? Okay. You can see that in your own life, and you can see this as a simple example of my grandpa. So then the question is, what keeps us from adapting? If a winning mindset is one that adapts to the situation, what keeps us from adapting? Write it in the chat. What holds you back from being able to adapt with your full capacity to every situation? What do you think? This is a tough question. Here's how I would put it. Our conscious mind is asleep. Our conscious mind is asleep. Fear of the unknown. Very nice, Susan. Thank you. So what do I mean by our conscious mind is asleep? Little background. The brain's evolution has made it seek the most efficient use of energy. Learning, which includes a lot of brain functions like memory, attention, focus, executive functioning, sensory processing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, takes a boatload of energy. That's why at the end of a workshop, you can feel tired, even though you are likely not doing a lot of physical activity. After your mid-20s, the brain doesn't tend to seek out learning states unless directed by other parts of our brain. What it tends to do is take what it has learned and fit all new pieces of information and experiences into those old constructs and beliefs. For example, okay, imagine you at a young age that you found a passion for softball or baseball, okay? You could field and throw a ball well, but you were actually quite exceptional at hitting. Your ability to read the pitch, to watch the ball, to adjust your shoulders, your elbows, your wrists, your hands, you always made contact with the ball, and then it was just about how well could you make contact with the ball. You were doing wonderfully as you were growing up, and you became known for your hitting abilities. The high school coach also happened to be the coach of the golf team and thought you'd do good on the team with your abilities to whack a ball. So you liked the vote of confidence, you signed up, you showed up, and you did horrible. The problem was that the swinging motion of the bat was not the swinging motion of a golf club. And no matter how much direction from your swinging coach you listened to and you earnestly tried, you could not get your body to sink into a golf swing. It's not that you were physically incapable of it. It's that your brain had such cemented neural pathways on how to hit with a bat, it couldn't easily adapt to swinging a club. Do you follow me on this? Nods of heads. Yes, with me. Good. This doesn't just happen here. This is everywhere in life, folks. Learning languages is known to be easiest before 7 years old because our ability to hear nuanced sound differences and create language-specific speech pronunciation starts to diminish once we hit puberty. So a lot of big words. Do you know what that means? The ears / the brain stop hearing certain sounds. And the mouth / the brain telling the mouth have a hard time producing certain sounds. Is that wild or what? Other languages have words that us English speakers, we wouldn't even be able to hear the word correctly. Our brain doesn't even hear it. Do you hear? Do you notice the filters? Do you get the gravity of what the filters of our brain are doing? We are sitting here earnestly wanting to listen to somebody speak to us, and we can't even process the information. This is the wild thing to me. The brain's function of learning starts to lessen for all areas of our life. So forget about athletic abilities or language learning. How about solving complex problems in business, like compensation plans or marketing strategies or production management or ways to communicate challenging conversations? If you haven't seen my other masterclasses on clear communication, do so now. Or how to relate to people that you don't see eye to eye with. At their core, all of these are just life experiences that, depending on your childhood, what you went through or didn't go through, and how your parents or guardians helped you or didn't help you process these formative experiences, had you learn a way, one way to interact with all future experiences of life. No matter how well your parents and teachers did, or how poorly they did. Not you, Julie, you did great. You likely learned one, maybe two ways of approaching life's circumstances and are playing the same record on repeat, unconsciously, over and over again. every experience you go through today, including this masterclass and the information you are taking in, is going through a set of filters that was put in place when you were a kid. Are they slightly adapted? Of course. Are those remnants of those limiting thoughts still within us today? You better freaking believe it. That's what we are working with. We are working with a brain that thinks that it has learned and does not need to learn anymore. And now it filters out options that are in front of us. Okay. Want to get a real example of this? Nods of heads. Yes. All right. Let me do this then. Keep the answers to yourself, especially if you've seen this. But what I'd like you to do is, of the following numbers on the board, on the PowerPoint here, what is the one that is most unique? For those of you just listening with no video, there's a list and it says number 1, it says 1, number 2, it says 13, number 3 says 31. Okay, everyone write down your answers. If you want to shoot it in the chat now, shoot it in the chat. Which of the following numbers is most unique? Okay, thank you, Pete. By a show of hands, so just raise your hand. Who says the number 1 is most unique? Pete, you want to unmute yourself? Give me a reason. Why? What was your reasoning? What was your rationale as to why number 1 was most unique? No wrong answers here.
No wrong answers. Boy, I probably looked, and 13 tends to show up a lot, and probably from triskaidekaphobia, and we associate it with so many things. And you always think about, I deal with accounting and month end, so the 31st of the month pops up about, what, 5 times a year?
Perfect. So the 13 and the 31 have these connotations to it, and 1 just is kind of hanging out there. It's just doing its thing.
Yeah, even though it's first, but yeah.
Cool. I like it. Okay. Now, by show of hands, who says 13 is most unique? Anybody? Nobody wants to do 13. Susan, are you still showing your hand for 13, or you did number 1? I think you did number 1. You did number 1. Yeah. I picked 13 when I first saw this because I did the negative connotation, right? Number 1's like the best. 31 to me had no connotation, 31 days of a month. But other than that, who cares about 31? 13 to me was unlucky number 13, 13th floor. There's all these, evil, connotations, bad connotations to 13. So that was my rationale. Okay, by show of hands, who thinks 31 is the most unique? Marie, let's hear it. What has you say 31 is most unique? What's your rationale?
Okay, so first off, it has a hyphen, so I'm looking at it like how it appears on
2
the
words.
screen.
Love
Yeah,
it.
how it appears on the screen, and that there's not there's some, but not 31 is kind of, as far as the months go, not always there. So there's a few months, I forget how many, but few months that have 30, 31. So I kind of looked at that one, but it's mainly, for me, it was a hyphen.
Love it. Yeah.
That's what got me to see that. Yeah.
That's great. These are both 1 and 13 are both 1 word. This is a 2 word with a hyphen. So if you actually looked at the words, similar to what you wrote, Jamie, you said 13 because the word has 2 E's back to back, right? Double letter. So just notice, and everybody comes up with an answer. There's just some answer that you come up with. I ask a question, the brain comes up with an answer. It's what it's intended to do. And notice we could take any of these answers and we could debate them for the rest of our day. Well, 1 is most unique because it's actually only 1. There are 13 other things and 31 other things. So 1 by itself is its only. 13 negative connotation, or there's a word with 2 E's on it, right? It's a single word. Or 31 because it's 2 words, it's got a hyphen, or the 31 days in the year, whatever the rationalization is, okay? Now, let me ask you a different question and see if there is a different answer. Ready? Of the following 6 numbers on the board, which of the following is most unique? Do you come up with a different answer? Write it in the chat. Do you see it? Anybody see it? Anybody see it now? How about now? How about now? 2. Those of you that are just listening, this is a numbered list, 1, 2, 3, and the answers to the right of the parentheses is 1, 13, 31. The number 2 is, I would say and argue, is the most unique because it is the only number not associated with a 1 or a 3, and it is the only even number. That's pretty unique, right? Now, this is the interesting part. That's a silly little parlor trick. Here's the interesting part. There are actually 6 opportunities, 6 choices on the board, but we only see 3 of them. I can do some simple math. That means we are only seeing 50% of the choices that are right in front of us. Imagine these options are the answers to the questions that you were asking earlier. Are you only seeing 3 options when there are more options right in front of us? Okay, that's parlor trick number 2. A little bit more interesting, right? Now, the fun question is, why do we only see 3 options? Write it in the chat. Why do we only see 3 options when I ask the first question, which of the following numbers is most unique? It's natural for us. Why does it become natural? What told us not to look over here behind what is now red? The parentheses, right? Where did we learn about parentheses? We learned about parentheses when we were in 1st grade. School, right? From our teachers. When we were 6 or 7 years old, the same time that our brain decided to start to slow down on the learning, start to slow down on, yes, we were trained to ignore the numbered list, just like bullet points. Correct, Susan. That could have been an ABC, that could have been a star, that could have been a bullet point, could have been anything. But our mind uses parentheses, and it has learned something in earnest from a very, let's give them the benefit of the doubt, honorable teacher that was helping you learn how to navigate life. And you took in information, used it back then, and then jumped 30, 40, 50, 60 years later, brought that piece of information in, and now don't see 3 out of the 6 options that are in front of you. And unfortunately, one of those 6 options, or the 3 options that you didn't see, was the answer of the only number not associated with a 1 or a 3 and is even. I don't believe our minds are against us or are sabotaging us. I believe it is a neutral player. It is a tool. It is a machine that is programmed a certain way. And only with developing one's emotional intelligence can we reprogram it. This is blowing your minds wide open, folks. Our learned filters are everywhere, and they are keeping us from answering questions about how to be successful in business, in our relationships, and in life, simply because we do not see the options that are right in front of us. So let's bring it back to our current situation, okay? What were those areas in your life that you wanted to work on and develop? Mine was my relationship with Cassie, as I said, that we're constantly working on. And if I was to be even more specific, let's say it's about our sex life. So how many of you have thought about this area in your life for some amount of time, and yet you keep coming back to it, to the same experience over and over again? How long are you coming back to it? Has it been a month? Has it been a year? Has it been a decade? Has it essentially been there since the beginning of time? Write it in the chat. How long is it? 18 years. Oh, Jamie. Oh, Jamie. Jamie's got 18 years. This is where I could be an auctioneer. Anybody 19, going for 19 years or more, 19, 20, anybody 20 years. Based on our conversation today, oh, Ellen's got you 30 years. Nice try, Susan. 20 years was okay. Ellen's got you at 30. Been going on since I can remember. Good one, Paige. Okay. Based on our conversation today, would you feel comfortable making the assumption that the thing that keeps you from making major advancements in your area of focus is simply the limited perspectives you learned that are filtering out options of how to be successful. That doesn't feel like a very big leap of faith now that you got a simple parlor trick example of how limiting our mind can be. The goal when we go into an organization is to support them in becoming the most effective team possible. And productive learning, we do not do that by knowing how to best sell real estate or engineer a building or invest capital for someone. We do it by illuminating the filters that are cutting off options before they can even be debated. This is about how they communicate, when they communicate, how teams interact with each other, how managers work with and train and inspire their teams, how executives manage their stress and their work-life balance. I truly believe that business is quite simple. The only real challenge is we get in our own way, and we don't even see it. You just saw a simple example of it with the numbers game. Bring that example back to your department or to your company or to your kids, to your spouse. Show them that you mean to up your game, not by some dramatic strategic shift, but merely by looking at themselves and their roles and their businesses differently. Okay? Okay, sorry, let's go. Sometimes I get on a soapbox, I just get excited. So let's go back to your 1 or 2 areas that you were working on. Here's the quick and dirty that we need to do some more coaching on later. This is a 2-parter, but we'll start here. I'd like you to generalize the scenario, meaning zoom out a little. So, for example, if mine is about my fear with Cassie and sex and intimacy, I would zoom out to something like, I have fears about asking what I want, and the other doesn't see it the same way. I'm generalizing it. Maybe yours was about time management. And if so, Mark Nicole's your guy to talk to. We'll get to that later. But what's the zoomed out view of this situation? Is it you're struggling to get everything done on time? Is it that you're torn between what you should do versus what you want to do? Again, you're zooming out. Generalize it. The players in the game may not be the players in the generic thing. That's just today's version of Romeo and Juliet. I want to go with the zoomed out version. Is yours about growing your team, Susan? What's the zoomed out version? Is it something like trusting others with things that are valuable to you? Is it like belief in myself to be somebody that I've never been? What's the zoomed out version? Think of the situation it is. Generalize it by looking at the people or the dynamic or the emotional states that it puts you in. If you don't have something, this is your homework. Schedule a call with me, shoot me an email, let's go through it together. If you've got something great, and if you're comfortable with it, throw it up on the chat. What is the generalized zoomed out thing that you have been working on over and over again? It's today's version of something that has been here for the 3 years, 18 years, 20, 30 plus years since as far as you can remember. What is the zoomed out version? Working on health. Great. Fear that others won't like me. Great. Shirley, nice. I'm afraid to start because then I can't fail or succeed. Very interesting. I like that. I fear what people will think of me. Love it. Susan. I don't love all this, guys. I don't love the fact that you're struggling. That's not my point. My point is that I love that you guys are being revealing and you are courageous and vulnerable. Courage is one of my core values. So when I see people being courageous, it inspires me. I very much appreciate that personally. So I love this. Good. Good job, everyone. Okay. That's part 1. And if you want to dig deeper, Jamie sent it in the chat. Click on that link, go up a couple of things to Jamie and schedule a call with me. Part 2. Here we go. Where did you learn this dynamic? What early experiences can you remember where this emotion or these relationship dynamics or this kind of thinking was present? The zoomed out version. It's probably with other players in other situations because, hey, you were 5, you were 8, you were 12 versus today you're 30, 50, 60 years old. What is the zoomed out version, but what is that? Where did you learn that? What were the early experiences that? Yes, watching dad stop start. Yes, 7th grade, Paige, great. Pete, even younger, 3rd grade. Can we get a 2nd grade? Can we get a 1st grade? Just kidding. Lucy's here. Fantastic. Lucy's here. Okay, so where did you learn this dynamic? Who was there? What were they doing? What did you want? What do you think your kid mind, quote unquote, learned? Remember, the teacher taught us to say that everything left of the parentheses disregard. We learned that back then. And then we jumped forward X amount of decades to today, where we didn't see 3 out of the 6 options. Where did you learn about this, or what did you learn about this way back when in 7th and 3rd grade and 4th grade and middle school? What did you learn? Some of you may think back to it immediately. That's great. Jot it down. If you're comfortable, write it in the chat box. What did you learn? Some of you may struggle. I get it. I believe you probably should, as this is looking at yourself, and that is the most difficult work. That is where your work is going to be. There's an origin story to all of us. This is just like all of our Star Wars and our Marvel characters have, right? If Anakin's mom wouldn't have been tortured and died, we may have never had Darth Vader. And similarly, if Peter Parker's grandfather didn't die, Spider-Man may have never decided to fight crime. There's an origin story to how all of us think, feel, act as adults based on beliefs and experiences that we went through in childhood. What is yours? I was too slow in understanding and completing my schoolwork. Susan, nice. There you go. Interesting. Look at there's judgments. I had a group of friends turn on me, and I assumed I could not trust people and that others were against me. Oh, my little heart hurts for little Paige's heart. Yes. These are our origin stories, right? Right? What does Peter Parker's grandpa say? With great power comes great responsibility. So I'll give you some of mine, right? I was talking about Cassie, intimacy, sex, my relationship growing with her. Oh, this is going to be super fun and awkward for Aunt Lucy because that's her niece right there. My origin story as to how that shows up today, but where does it come from? That's with me and playing video games and having sisters and all sisters and female cousins, or even more specifically, I was the kid that wanted to go play Frisbee outside because I had just learned how to throw a Frisbee. And all of my sisters, my 2 sisters, I have a twin sister and an older sister, and all of my cousins were females. And whenever we got together, which is when I first learned to play Frisbee and throw a Frisbee, anything close to accurate, they all wanted to go inside and play house. So I had the choice, a fool's choice. I got to either go be with everybody and do what I don't want to do, or be by myself, but get what I want. Neither of which is what I wanted, because I wanted to do what I wanted to do with other people, and I could not see that as an option. And now I bring that kind of fool's errand or that foolish thinking into 30 plus years later, where I don't see how to have conversations with what I think other people would want versus what I want. There's an origin story to all of this. Okay. Now I admit I am leaving you with questions that I do not know that most of you can answer on your own. And more importantly, to a level of understanding that will open up the opportunities like our 1:13:31 example. Why is that? Because you are assessing your thinking with your own thinking. Is it impossible to do? No. Is it more difficult? Yes. One other reason is that the mind has been programmed to think a certain way for, insert how old you are, 30, 40, 60, 70 years. So even if you had the insight from this brilliant masterclass that you are on right now, I wouldn't bet $1 that the insight is going to change how you have habitually been acting for 30, 40, 50, 60 years. For the longest time growing up, I thought that it was so strange that the greatest athletes needed a coach. I thought, how could the best in the world get help from someone that isn't as good as them? And then that all got blown apart when I saw the Dalai Lama speak up in Seattle. He said in part of his speech, but the only thing that I can actually remember from his 1.5-hour speech was that he said that he had a mentor. This is the spiritual leader of Tibetan Buddhism saying that he has a mentor. And that his mentor helped him see himself and his mind more clearly. That's how he put it. My mentor helps me see myself and my mind more clearly. A coach helps us see ourselves more clearly so that we can adjust what needs to be adjusted. Tiger Woods had a coach. Steph Curry has a coach. All the greats have a coach. The business tycoons all have people around them that support them, that counter how they're thinking so that they can see themselves. So the coach helps you see yourself more clearly, that you can adjust. It's like being ready for a big meeting where you are presenting. And you could shower and you could dress and you could do your hair and makeup and probably do most of it without a mirror, right? But would you want to? Wouldn't you want to see yourself and adjust the way your hair falls and the clothes sit on you? I would. I did when I put on my Hawaiian shirt for my summer July masterclass. And I do. I have a coach too. I have multiple, actually. I can't see me, but they can, and they know how to talk to me to get the best out of me. I got different people to push me in different ways. So just like Vince Lombardi did with my grandpa, and interestingly, I am similar to my grandpa in that a little bit of disappointment, whether about myself or from others, fires my engines up and I start producing. So the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, folks. So here is my ask of you. Let me share my screen here. Here is my ask of you. What I want is for you to send me an email letting me know what is your area of focus, what's the zoomed out scenario look like, and 3, your best shot at the origin story. And I'll give you a little mirror of reflection. Shoot me an email, lindona@productivelearning.com. This is for you. What is your area of focus? Number 2, what's the zoomed out scenario look like? And 3, what's the origin story as best as you can describe it? Make sense? Nods? Okay. Now, lastly, for others. First one's for us. Like us on Facebook and LinkedIn. Follow us and like us. Second thing, introduce me to someone at your work. Whether it's me coming in and leading a training, me coming in and doing a private Zoom session like this, or maybe the executive team, or going in and doing coaching and investing in their mindset and their culture. Introduce me. Where do I move? Right there? Now I'm not in the way. Introduce me to someone at your work. I want to have this conversation with hundreds of people. I want them to see that their mind is the only thing in the way of them getting everything they want in life. I believe that everyone can have it. Productive learning does too. I know many of you that have been to workshops and have been coached by our coaches have had successes in your life that you had been struggling for and wanting, and then you got. It's there. It's available. So do for yourself. Shoot me, Lindon A at productivelearning.com, an email, letting me know your focus area, your zoomed out scenario, and the origin story, and then go up on Facebook and LinkedIn and like us and follow us, and finally introduce us to somebody at your work. Let's open up their minds to see new ways of doing whatever their role is. All right, folks? I had a great time today. I appreciate you all for taking this hour with me. Thanks for coming to my summer Hawaiian shirt fun masterclass. Watch my other videos. Join Mark Nicole next time. It will be in September, where he will be continuing our Agile leadership series, and he'll get your mind blown for sure. I love you all. Bye-bye.